And that's where the announcement comes in. I did earn over $500,000 in 2022. In today's video, I'll be talking about how I turned my 9 to 5 job into a side hustle, and then I turned it into a business. In no way I'm bloating, in no way I'm being arrogant after making this video. It's not a video where I'll tell you how much money I'm making. Yes, I'll be giving numbers, but that's not the intent of the video. I want to give the lessons that I learned, the things that I did in order to make that switch with, from doing a 9 to 5 job, which a lot of people are doing, but they do not want to make a switch towards doing business as well. So in today's video, my intent is to give you everything that I did and everything that I learned throughout this journey. So let's get started. So like I said, in today's video, I have a presentation where I'll be talking about my journey from 9 to 5 to 500K business. I'll be talking about the transformation itself in dollars. And I'll be starting my journey from almost 10 years from now when I first entered the industry. I'll be talking about how I prepared to quit my job from when I came to Canada and I was doing a 9 to 5 job earning $75,000 to now where I did earn over $500,000 in 2022 through my different businesses that I have. I'll be talking about the lessons that I learned along the way, especially in the last 1 year, 2022. And that is something that I think will be helpful for a lot of people out there. And lastly, I'll also talk about the intent of making this video, the real reason why I actually want to make this video, so that you can have some trust in when I say that I know how to build side hustles. And there's a small announcement that I'll be making by end of this video. Before I start the video, do subscribe to the channel, because 2023 is a year where the actual intent of the channel will be materialized. I'll be making a lot of videos on how to build businesses. My intent is not just for you to buy real estate. My intent is to earn enough money so that real estate is more of a wealth preservation than wealth building. What I mean by that is, I don't want you to earn more money using real estate. Yes, you can always do that, but the intent is that you can earn more money doing your active businesses, and then when you have that money, you actually put it into real estate so that you can retire with passive income. I know it's a complicated thing to understand sometimes, but 2023 is year where I will be explaining that through various videos, and you will get to know as long as you subscribe to the channel. So do subscribe to the channel. Let's talk about the transformation and the timeline that I had. So I entered the industry back in 2011, back in India. I was in Calcutta. I was working for the largest market research company, which is Nielsen, and my package to start with was 5.5 lakh, which is about $6,000-7,000 a year, which is okay in India. In 2011, I was good with it, right? But I was, I was very hardworking, right? So from 2011 to 2014, I actually grew from being an analyst to a senior analyst to a manager to a senior manager in 3-4 years, less than I think 4 years. I grew, almost doubled my salary to 10 lakh per year. I moved to Delhi. I became a senior manager. I had a team that I was managing, and then I asked if I can go to Hong Kong. So in 2015, I moved to Hong Kong. My salary actually increased a lot. So from Hong Kong standards, it was okay. But if you look at it in dollars, and all these numbers are in Canadian dollars now, it was about $72,000 a year. And I was handling, like markets across Southeast Asia and Middle East. So that was something that was very exciting. And again, I remained the most hardworking person. I out-researched everyone. I was good with, managing clients. I was good at managing teams. And in about 2.5 years, I actually grew again, almost doubled my salary. And I grew from senior manager to a director, associate director to a director. So I grew from being an analyst, starting as an analyst, all the way to almost the highest level that you can achieve, without getting into that vice president, level positions in about 7 years, almost 8 years in same company. And my salary, increased from 5.5 lakh to $135,000 Canadian a year. And in Hong Kong, there were very less taxes. Now, the reason why I'm telling you this is that this is a journey that a lot of people have. Now, it might not be in 7-8 years. It might take, someone 15 years, but it's even though, I made $500,000 running a business right now, I do not come from a business family. I come from a service background, and all this is to say that I was very much a service guy. If someone is to tell me that, oh, you should sell this or you should do a business, I was like, I'm not a business person. And I actually said that I cannot sell. And, fast forward 5 years, I am selling mortgages right now. So I hope, you are able to relate to this journey. But I took the first business decision in 2017 where me and Simran started our first business. It had nothing to do with potatoes, nor it had anything to do with real estate. It was us creating shopping mall, apps for shopping malls, like smartphone apps for shopping malls, so that they can draw more customers and they can crunch more data, and they could just understand, the shopper journey through the receipts. That business actually did not do very well, and I left my job because the business was not doing very well. We were bleeding a lot of money. I lost a lot of money in crypto as well in 2018, 2017, and 2018. And in 2019, I think it was August or September when we decided that we'll have to go back to India. Either we extend the business to India, I leave my job in Hong Kong, and we cannot live in Hong Kong because it was very expensive without, for me to live without the salary. Simran was also earning, by the way, at that time, but still it was not enough for us to be able to invest enough into the business. Plus, we didn't even know whether we want to do the business or not. So we just moved to India, and we were earning $0 then, because I left my job, Simran left her job, and we just moved to India with nothing in our business, and we were earning $0. Suddenly, from $135,000 and a business that we thought was doing well, we were down to $0. So that was the bottom that we hit in 2019. But what we did was in 2020 and 2019, we actually were preparing to come to Canada as well. In March of 2020, we actually came to Canada. I struggled to get a job initially because of the pandemic. We actually came one day before the pandemic, and every job offer was going away. And finally, I got a job with Walmart, as a market researcher in their head office for $75,000 a year. And this is something that a lot of people will also relate to. I moved from $135,000 a year in Hong Kong, at least 2 to 3 levels lower than what my level was in Hong Kong. And my salary starting was $75,000 a year with a lot going into taxes. But the good thing that we did was we always knew that this was not the end game. We always wanted to do some kind of a personal business. And that's where we started our YouTube channel. If you have followed us on Potato Talkies, you would know that we started the channel in November of 2019. But it took almost mid of 2020 when I got the job for the channel to actually give us any kind of returns. We were actually making $0 till about mid of 2020. The whole of 2020, we made probably $10,000, from AdSense revenue. So it was not a lot of money. And obviously Simran was also working, but my personal journey was that I made $75,000 from my job, which was half a year in 2020, and made maybe $10,000, from YouTube AdSense revenue. And then the turnaround year happened in 2021 when I decided that I want to start a business on top of my YouTube channel, because I always thought that YouTube is a good way of earning some AdSense revenue, but it's not a way of leaving my job. And I also wanted to leave my job. But I was very good at the job that I was doing in Walmart, because again, I was 2 levels lower than what I actually did back in Hong Kong. So it was not very difficult for me to excel in the role. And my salary actually increased by almost 33% by the time I was leaving Walmart. I'll get to that story. But November of 2021 is when I left my job. But the reason I left my job was because I was able to grow my business, the YouTube business, to about $105,000 a year. So not only was I earning almost 6 figures in my job when I left my job, I also was earning equal amounts of money, which was split across YouTube AdSense, which increased to about $25,000. That's the money that, when you see the ads, you'll get, as a YouTube creator. So that was about $25,000. There was also FJA, which is First Job Accelerator, the accelerator program that I have where I help people get their first jobs. I still run that program. To date, I earned about $2,000, $2,500 a month from that, doing that program live, 1 or 2 weekends in a month. And then I was also getting sponsorships on the YouTube channel because it had grown to over 100,000 subscribers. We got sponsorships from a couple of banks, and it was just a very good year where we made a lot of money through sponsorships, much more than our actual YouTube revenue. And that's the underrated thing, right? A lot of people think that YouTube AdSense is how YouTubers make money. That's not the case. It's the sponsorships that you get from different brands to promote their products and the affiliates that you get. So overall, I made the same amount of money that I was making in my job, and that allowed me, I'll talk about that in the next slide as well, but that's what led me to quit my job. But that was not the only thing. I also wanted to, when I was quitting my job, if I did not do anything and I continued doing my YouTube and my First Job Accelerator or double down on First Job Accelerator, I knew that I would make 6 figures. I would still make $100,000. And that was a little bit, of consolation that, even if I lose my or leave my job and I don't make any money from whatever I wanted to do in 2022, which was last year when after I left my job, I still thought that I will be able to make at least six figures, and that is what led me into leaving the job. But I also learned one high value skill, which was mortgages. And that's the thing that we need to understand. When we have to have a side hustle, then we can actually be okay making $500, $1,000 a month. But when we have to have a business, we have to make something which is scalable. And I actually wanted to learn something which was very high value, in the sense that if I close one of those deals, I make anywhere between $3,000 to $6,000 depending on the size of the deal. And that was mortgages for me. And fast forward December of 2022, when I was doing my accounts, I actually broke personally $500,000 of gross revenue. This was not something that I keep in my bank account. There were a lot of expenses, which I'll talk about in the next two slides, but $500,000 was the gross revenue that I got. And it was all from mortgages. Most of it, 80% of it was mortgages, because my YouTube revenue actually went down because I changed my focus from just making YouTube videos to actually running a business, which was mortgages. So my YouTube revenue overall came down from $25,000 to $16,000. You must have seen that our Potato Talkies channel has actually been going down in views. And that's kind of intentional, in the sense that we have been paying less focus on that only, and we have been building a business. Then FJ actually was pretty much similar. First Job Accelerator, $25,000 to $30,000, is what we made. And sponsorships was also pretty much similar, $55,000, $56,000 in 2022. But the biggest one was almost $400,000 that I earned through mortgages. And that was kind of the turning point that we had in my career. So how did I leave my job? And that's something that a lot of people think that they want to leave their jobs, but I think we need to prepare before we quit our job. We need to actually prepare almost 12 months in advance. If we think that 1 year from now, let's say in 2024 January, you want to leave your job, what are the things that we need to do? So I did the following things in 2021 before I left my job in 2021 end. And the number one thing was budget. We eliminated all our wants. We only kept to our rent. We actually moved to a new house, so we were paying a mortgage there. So we did not want to have any unwanted expenses. For example, I wear the same black t-shirt for the last 2 years. I don't spend a lot of on my clothes. We don't spend a lot on travel. We don't spend a lot of money on shopping. So all that we just eliminated, and we reduced our expenses by about 15 to 20%, despite moving from rent, which was $2,000, all the way to mortgage, which was about $2,500, $2,600. But still we were able to reduce our overall expenses to about less than $5,000 a month, which is pretty good, I would say. The next thing that I did in 2021 was I worked my ass off. I worked 18 hours a day to build that side hustle which I had, which was First Job Accelerator and the YouTube, to a level where it gave me 50% plus of my annual income. So my annual income, let's say, was $100,000. I wanted to get the side hustle to a level where it gave us $50,000 if we only did that. So that, if I leave my job, I'm not down to zero. And now, luckily, we got a few promotions and we got a few sponsorships that actually got me to about, 100%, in fact, a little bit more than what I was making in my job. So like I said in the previous slide, we made about $105,000 in 2021, which allowed me to be fearless. And that's the other thing. Yes, I was getting almost 100% of my salary in my side hustle when I worked 18 hours a day. But I also wanted to build an emergency fund, and we built a 12 months of emergency fund, which is $60,000 in our bank account over and above our investments or everything. And we kept it in EQ Bank, earning 2%, 2.5% every single year. We didn't bother to invest that money. That was just safety money, so that even if I don't make any money off YouTube or anything, I'm able to pay myself $5,000, which I was getting in my job. And that could actually just, get us over. Now, the other thing that I'm missing here, this is just my journey. Simran also had an income coming in. So Simran was also earning money at that time. I think it was about $85,000, and it almost doubled in 2022. But this is 2021, right? So 2021, we knew that Simran's money is coming in and we'll be able to save for our real estate investments and stuff like that. But I also wanted to have that emergency fund in case I didn't make any money off my business, which in hindsight, I feel that was very, very conservative, but that's fine. And then I developed a new skill, which was mortgages, because I wanted to make sure that my business is scalable and I'm able to make a lot more money and scale it if I add more team members into my team. And that's how, I did it. So if you are planning to leave your job, make sure that you are budgeting and reducing your expenses. That's number one. Make sure that you do your side hustle with your full-time job for at least 1 year and bring it to a level where you feel that yes, even if you don't have a job, you'll at least make half of the money that you are making in your full-time job. You need to build an emergency fund, whether it's 6 months or 12 months. 12 months, I think it's very aggressive. I think 6 months is also enough, but you need to have an emergency fund before you leave your job, and then try to develop a new skill, learn a new skill, whether it's mortgages, whether it's fulfillment by Amazon. It could be anything that you are strong at. My strong suit was personal finance and research, and I think I was able to teach people and just guide people on buying their first houses, and that's where I went towards mortgages. But I did learn a few things that I didn't know when I was leaving my job. I didn't know that I would be learning all these things, but it just happened that I met some amazing people who actually guided me along the way. I had some amazing coaches, and I had an idea that if I just follow the right people, I would be able to make it work. So the biggest lesson was that my why I left my job to do mortgages or build my business has to be much bigger than money. It could not be that I want to do mortgages because I want to earn money. Yes, that's a factor, but my why was that I wanted to teach. I want to help people buy their first homes. I want that satisfaction that I didn't get when I was getting my mortgage, because I was not getting the right guidance, and it was a massive investment for me when I was buying my first house. But I just wished there was someone who was guiding me from start to end, so that I don't make the mistakes that I made when I was buying my first house. We have discussed that earlier as well. But again, my why, or your why when you're leaving your job and starting a business, has to be much bigger than I just want to make more money, because that's not what leads to consistency. I would not be able to make the content that I'm making if my why was not strong. If it was just about money, I would just lose any kind of motivation to build more content as soon as I get the money, which was in 2022. I made $500,000 and I can just enjoy, buy an expensive car, buy an expensive house, and keep doing mortgages and not make content. So my why is much bigger than money, and that's important. The second one is I don't have to do this alone. And therefore, all the $500,000 that I hired a full-time editor to edit all my videos, because that was something that was not the best of use of my time. I also hired underwriters to do my documentation on the mortgage side. So mortgage side is two things, right? One is that you need to do all the documentation for all the clients that you get. You need to prepare the documentation. You need to track down payments. You need to check, for employment. So you need to coordinate with banks. You need to coordinate with appraisers. And all that is something that was not high value activity for me. My high value activity is making content and then reaching out to, people. And then people are just trusting me with their biggest purchase, and then guiding them along the way, making calls. I think sales and closing the clients was my biggest strength, and I concentrated on that, and I spent over $200,000 on hiring people and giving part of my earnings to those people who were helping me build my business. So you don't have to do it alone, and if you're building a big business, there's a very high chance that half of it will actually go towards building that business in people, depending on the business that you're doing. There's no shortcut to success, but there is one. If you have a high value coach who has done what you are doing, for instance, my coach on mortgages has done that for 20 years. And that's the reason why all the mistakes that he made, I'm not making, because I'm learning from him. Yes, I pay a lot of money, a lot out of my commission to get that, but it's worth it. Same way when I'm investing in the US, if you're following me on Instagram, you would know that I have a coach where I spend almost $15,000 to learn how to invest in the US, so that I don't learn, by making mistakes. I just learn from someone else's experience who has done it for many years, and I just pick the best things and I'm able to do it. I think it's very underrated. Getting coaching, mentorship courses. I spent over $25,000 in 2022 in doing that, and that was shortcut to how I achieved $500,000 in revenue. And that's, I think $25,000 is what, 5% of what I earned, right? So if I can spend 5% of what I earn on my learning and make, almost whatever, 10 times that money, I think it's a very small price to pay. I always put myself out there. I'm making this content. I'm not the smartest guy, but I still want to make content every single day. I double down. I have an editor now, so I can actually churn out more content. I'm churning out a lot more content in terms of long form videos. I'm doing shorts. I'm doing reels. I think that's a very underrated skill to have in order to make yourself successful in a short duration of time. I think we need to gain more trust of our consumers. In my case, it's personal finance, mortgages, and I want to gain your trust before I have a product that I have to sell to you. So put yourself out there if you want to build a business quickly. I'm not saying I could not have been successful if I was doing mortgages for like 5-10 years without social media. You can be successful without social media, but it just takes a lot longer. So I just put myself out there, and because I was doing all that, and because I was doing such a really good response on mortgages, I was just fearless. I was like, even if I don't do mortgages, and as long as I'm guiding people for the right things and for the right reasons, and even if they don't come back, and do the mortgage from me and take everything away from me, in the sense that, they would take all the knowledge away from me and go to another mortgage agent because they are giving a 0.05% discount on the mortgages. Even if that happens, I'm okay with it, because my passion is teaching, my passion is, guiding people, and my why is much bigger than just earning money. And that actually allowed me to be fearless and say things like, you need to make more money. If someone was to come to me with a $50,000 salary and wanted to buy a house, I would just tell them that you need to make more money. And I was just fearless in saying that, not thinking that they would just go away and never come back to me. And that authenticity of me giving the right advice to the right people, I think brought me so much business in 2022. And that was only possible because I did what I explained to you in the last slide, where I had the buffer. If I didn't make any money off mortgages, I still would have made 6 figures from everything else that I was doing. And that buffer was very important. I had the emergency fund. That buffer was very important in being fearless in business with zero expectations. Now, here's the reason why I actually made this video. Now, I know that this was not a video which is usual, filled with facts. It was just my story on my timeline. I hope, a lot of people were able to relate to where I was, because I'm sure a lot of you are actually where I was, doing the 9-to-5 job, earning more money, and then coming to Canada and taking a, like a haircut on the salary, and not being happy with what I was doing. Even though I was good at it, I always thought that I am meant to do a lot bigger things. And that's where the announcement comes in, where I will be making a new series on this particular channel for free, where I'll be talking about side hustles. I'll be talking about how to build a side hustle. I'll be talking about how to identify your strengths so that you can build the right side hustle for you. I'll be talking about how to scale that side hustle into an actual business. I'll be talking about how to get your first clients. I'll be talking about social media and the power of social media in getting, you there. And there'll be a very long 3-month series. So I'll highly recommend that you subscribe to this channel, hit the bell icon. The course will be starting on February of 2023. There'll be one video that will go out on side hustles every single week for the next 3 months. So it'll be about 12 to 15 videos that I'll be making. And I promise you this, if you subscribe to the channel and you go through the entire, those 15 videos that I'll be making, you will at least be in a position to start your side hustle and earn $500 to $2,000 a month along with your job, and eventually be able to at least give yourself a chance to leave your 9-to-5 and build a successful business, just, like I did. I'm not the smartest guy. Like I said, I'm definitely not the smartest guy out there. There are a lot of people who are watching this video who are much smarter than me. I just want to make sure that we are exploiting our full potential, and that's the reason why I created this channel, and that's the reason why I'll be making this series. So do subscribe to the channel. I hope you like this video. The intent, I hope, was you didn't see this as something that I'm bragging that I make $500,000. To be honest, I spent it all, half of it, more than half of it, on education and people hiring, and I think I'll be doubling my revenue for 2023. But again, I'll be just reinvesting that into my business. Anyways, I hope you like this video. मिलते हैं अगली वीडियो में, तब तक के लिए बाय बाय।